podcast is all about you guys, your journey in music, and how you formed communions. And we'll talk about your new record as well.
Mm-hmm. Sweet.
Cool, cool. So who's Mads and who's Martin? Just so I'm clear.
I am Mads.
Okay, Martin. both brothers.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah. Are you twins?
No. I'm older. You wouldn't probably be able to tell. Yeah.
Yeah, you look like twins.
Yeah. He's I'm actually 4 years older than he is.
Are you really? Oh my gosh. I would have never guessed.
I don't have any I don't have a beard, so yeah, I sometimes have a beard.
So that's where you get the older look. You get the beard.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think so.
Got you. Right on. So you guys are both from Denmark?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were born here, but we actually lived in the States for a period of 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we lived in Seattle for 10 years. We moved when I was around 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just born. I was like 2 months old or something.
So you lived in the States until you were about 15 then? Yeah,
almost 16.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you did a lot of your adolescence here in Seattle, obviously. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, now it just feels normal being here, but it was really weird moving back here in the beginning. It was a huge culture shock. Yeah.
I can imagine. Wow. So did you what took you guys to the States? Your parents' job or something?
Yeah. Our father worked for Microsoft actually over there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's why it was Seattle, because they have the headquarters.
Headquarters there. But you were both born, Mads, you were born in Denmark?
Yeah. I was born in Copenhagen.
Very young. And then when you guys moved out there. Wow, that's fascinating.
I was just a baby. Yeah.
What was the culture shock for you, Martin? I mean, wow, if you're 5, 6 years old.
Yeah. Well, the culture shock was a mix of different things. I mean, first of all, the language. We had spoken Danish at home, but I mean, I had to start it in high school, and it was pretty hard to get into that. But also just it's a very different scene. In Seattle, it was very we lived in the suburbs, and it was very a certain thing. And then we moving to the center of Copenhagen, and my high school was right across from Christiania, which is this free state. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's this really wacky place where a lot of hippies live and stuff. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. It was just really it was two different worlds kind of. I mean, yeah, it was pretty crazy. And well, I mean, it was also kind of sad because I had a lot of really great friends over there in Seattle. So I was really depressed for a while, actually. And I mean, now I'm really happy to be here, but it was really, it was pretty tough.
Wow. Did you grow up learning English then, Mads?
Yeah. And okay. I learned Danish too. I mean, I could speak Danish, but I guess I had an accent when we moved over here. But I couldn't read or write.
You had an accent from Seattle?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So it's
I spoke Danish with an American accent.
Interesting.
And I couldn't read or write at all. I think I learned to read pretty quickly, but the writing part was really difficult.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's crazy because it's total opposite. You would think coming from there and then moving to Seattle, but you moved there so young.
Yeah, exactly.
That trying to relearn everything, almost like if you were born and raised in Seattle and having to move to Copenhagen.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. Well, how did you guys get into music?
Well, actually, I mean, in Seattle, I had a lot of friends who were introduced me to punk music and stuff.
Okay.
And that was kind of how I got into alternative music and playing music myself, I guess.
What was the first instrument you learned?
Guitar. Well, I guess actually I should say that I actually started playing guitar before I got into punk and stuff, and that was classical guitar. And then I got into all this weird punk music and started, playing that kind of stuff. And but I was really young at that point, still 13 years old.
What took you? What did your parents put you in classical guitar lessons or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad took me some guitar lessons every now and then, and then I was pretty good at that actually, but then I just kind of yeah, started teaching myself more
Punk
you know.
rock.
Yeah.
That's rad. What about you, Mads? Like, were you just kind of following in Martin's footsteps?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, I remember going to some piano lessons too when I was like very small, but I mean, it was nothing serious at all.
Sure.
And then I think when Martin got his first electric guitar, I kind of got like I got a bass because
the little brother had to get.
I had to get.
You had to play something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, different as well.
Yeah, I had to get something too, but it also had to be different. So I chose the one with 4 strings. I was like 8 years old and I had no idea what it was.
Did you fall in love with bass, or was it something that you had to kind of go back to later?
It was something I had to go back to. I mean, when we started the band, I hadn't really touched the bass in like many years.
Really?
Yeah, but now I really love playing bass.
What were you playing guitar? Is that what you went to instead?
No, I mean, I guess
you weren't really playing that much.
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't really playing that much of anything when we started the band, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of like I mean, we really like we just started and like kind of learned how to play. I mean, together. It was pretty. Yeah.
Well, you were good at playing guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, you were like really good at playing guitar.
I was gonna ask, so were you in bands before, Martin? Before you?
I had a band over back in Seattle, but it was it was pretty like it was really just punk band, and I mean it was really cool, but it was, I mean, I feel like this is like the first serious band where I'm writing songs and stuff. I wasn't singing and the other thing. I was just playing guitar.
Were you writing the music at all, or writing the songs?
Yeah, I was writing some of the music, like the lyrics and act to this actually. But
oh wow.
But I'd never, like when we started this band, I had never like tried singing. So I mean, I think we each of us had like our own thing we had to like try to learn how to do when we were doing this.
Sure.
And now we're like at a completely different place, I feel like now, but it's taken a while to like feel like there.
So when did the band start? Was that were you guys already back in Denmark at that point?
Yeah, that was
it must have been like 2013.
Yeah, like I think I can't remember if it was 13 or 14, but I mean we put out our first like little DIY like EP that we recorded ourselves in 2014.
Okay. Well, when was it like that you decided, hey, let's start a band, and then you ended up, asking Mads to join? Because it sounded like you were really in a band or interested in it at the time.
Yeah, I mean, that would probably have been in like 2013 at some point.
How did you convince him to play?
Yeah, well, I had some friends from high school. Those are 2 of the guys that were in the band, but they've since left actually. But I like approached them, and there was a drummer and another guitarist, and so I mean basically we just needed a bass player, but they kind of knew Mass because we had like hung out like.
Sure.
Mass has always been like friends with my friends. So
okay.
It's a pretty like natural thing. But yeah, it was basically because we needed somebody and you had a bass.
So you're stuck playing bass. Well, I know somebody, my brother has a bass. He's going to join the band.
I had that shitty old bass that was like 10 years old and just.
Oh, it's the same one that you got in Seattle.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wow.
I've since upgraded. So.
There you go. Well, so you started in 2014. That's when you recorded that EP.
Yeah.
And you just did that, you guys yourselves?
Yeah, our drummer like recorded it through a USB microphone in our in our rehearsal space. It was really like like lo-fi
and then we mixed it in Audacity, right?
Yeah, like this free mixing program.
Oh yeah, I know the program. Yeah. That's crazy. So the whole record is just was all recorded on a USB mic and mixed on Audacity. Interesting. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So when you put out the next year, you put out your self-titled EP, was that done in like a studio, or was that done similar?
That was a studio. So like our whole like journey has been like really like just learning really fast, like how to do things. So the 2015 EP was in the studio, and sounds a lot like better, obviously. But
what was that like playing or recording in the studio the first time? It must have been totally different than that first EP.
Yeah, actually, I think we did a single. So we did 2 songs in between the first EP and the second one.
Okay.
But those, like doing those singles was like, yeah, that was the first time we recorded with a producer. And I mean, it was really like a learning curve. I mean, we didn't really know anything about recording. It was just kind of had to trial and error and like learn.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that wasn't even like really in the studio.
Yeah, that wasn't the first like real studio was the second EP. I think. Yeah.
Okay, so the singles weren't even really in a real studio. They're just
I think it was like some kind of rehearsal space or something.
Yeah, but it was like with a real producer. Yeah. So
got it.
He was like, yeah, I guess it would be the equivalent of like a home studio or something.
Oh, right on. Okay. Well, and then when were you playing shows that whole time?
Yeah, we were. I mean, the weird thing was our first EP got like a lot of attention because it was these guys from Partial Isolation, the record label here. They are pretty well known, and they released it, and so yeah, we had to learn how to play live shows like really quickly as well together.
Oh wow! So how did they find the EP? Was it up online or something?
It was actually through Jacob, our guitarist, I
think he showed his older brother.
Yeah, he showed his older brother, who showed it to Loke, which is the guy that has Partial Isolation. So it was like a word of mouth kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, really like unexpected, totally unexpected, and I mean, we really had to like learn how to play really fast, and we were playing shows, I think, already in 2014, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think our first show was like, like at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Wow. So I mean, obviously the band got validated pretty quick that you guys are doing something right. If like a label is, going after you as, especially with something as lo-fi as that first EP was.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely had like its charm.
Sure.
But it like, yeah, I think we definitely wanted to like improve the quality of the recordings and stuff, but it definitely has its charm.
Definitely. Well, then you guys put out what the full length was after that EP.
Yeah. And
Tell me about that. Were the shows getting bigger? Like, what was the progression in the band?
Yeah, the shows, I mean, we played some pretty big shows in 2017, actually in Japan and stuff. I think those are some of the biggest shows we've played.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were like touring out of the country at that point.
Yeah, but before that too, actually around the second EP, we were playing like in Europe places.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like London,
Amsterdam,
France,
Paris, Berlin. Yeah.
Oh wow. And how were those shows booked because you had the label?
No, because we went to a different label. Like we went to a London label that released the second EP. This label called Tough Love Records.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah, that probably helped like the international attention a bit. Yeah, I don't know. There was also just like a lot of attention on the Danish like music scene at that time, on the like underground kind of alternative music scene here. I mean, I think there still is, but there was like an extraordinary amount of attention at that point.
What was the reason behind that? Do you know?
Well, I mean, there was like a lot of things happening. Like Ice Age were just starting out.
Oh, okay.
Released their stuff, or not starting out. They had like released some stuff, and that like caused a lot of attention.
Sure.
And then there was like a lot of other bands located around like the same rehearsal space, and it just became like a scene kind of. And I think that was like really easy for international like media and stuff to like
notice it.
Like, there's a scene here.
Right. Oh, that's awesome, especially to be a part of something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty special, like in those like years, like 2014, 15. And then everybody kind of went on to do their own stuff, and it kind of like spread out, and you know how stuff goes like that. But
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were still like learning. I feel like we're still learning how to record. I mean, I feel like with this record we just released, I finally feel like I know how to like communicate with the producer and be like, this is what I want it to sound like.
Oh, really?
I don't really feel like I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think we've always had trouble like speaking that producer language.
Right, kind of telling them exactly what you're looking for on the recording.
Yeah, it's like you really realize that like there's like a connection between creative skill and technical skill. Like
sure.
they really depend on each other. Which is why, yeah, I think.
But I think that's also why you kind of like keep doing it, because you maybe have an idea in your head that you never really like reach, and then you still want to try to like get better or like reach that final thing where you're like, oh, this is it. Yeah. And you're probably never gonna reach it, but yeah.
Did you work with a different producer on this latest record? Do you feel like that has something to do with it, or was it the same guy or girl?
It was a different producer than our first record and our EP, so it was a new guy. But we did some singles with him, like starting out before we like did the whole record, and
okay.
Those singles made it onto the record as well. But yeah, so like we like tried him out a while, and he's a really good guy, and yeah, he's really good.
So where were you guys? I mean, you guys put out another EP prior to this most recent record, right? Flesh and Gore, Dream and Vapor. Tell me about that album.
Well, that was actually with the same producer who did that.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah, but but I mean, I think that EP was kind of like it's kind of like a side experiment, I guess, or something. It was kind of just done a little bit quicker, and yeah, I think we kind of did it to like put something out, to be honest. And I think we kind of like we're working towards this record all along. Okay. That's how I feel. Yeah. Not to like put that down or anything, but I just, it was kind of like the need to put something out, and kind of still learning how to vibe with Mass.
With the producer.
With the producer. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. And so where were you guys, like, because that record came out or the EP came out in 2019. Where were you guys at? Were you touring like when the whole COVID thing happened? Like, where were you guys at?
When COVID hit, we were like thinking of putting out the like we thought this record was gonna be like released in 2020 actually. And
was it done in 2019?
Yeah, it's been done for a while. But a lot of stuff happened. Like COVID came, and obviously that kind of slowed everything, like in terms of release. But we also had to find another label. Yeah, we've been like on a lot of different labels actually. But we had to find a label, and we found a label in Denmark here that are releasing it, and but that also just kind of like stalled everything a bit. And
what was there was it just like a falling out with you guys in the label, or
with the previous one?
Yeah, creative differences.
To be honest, I'm not even really like, no, I think it was like Fat Possum, so it was an American label. I think it was kind of like the maybe like the communication was kind of hard because they were in America and we're here, but honestly, like a lot of the communication was between them and our manager at that point.
Okay.
And I feel like after, it's only like recently that Mass and I like really taken the initiative to like really have a really close communication with the people we work with, which is really important and really like an important lesson we've learned.
Yeah, we do our own management now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, at least for the time being. But I think you definitely learn a lot by by doing that, and like trying to engage with what's going on around you instead of like leaving it to some people and you don't really know what's going on. And
sure.
Yeah.
You have more freedom now.
Yeah.
In a way.
But it's I mean, it's also a lot of work, but I mean, it's worth it, I feel.
Wow. Okay. That's cool. I mean, even signing to Fat Possum, that must have been a huge deal. They have some huge artists that have, I mean, or that are on or have been on that label.
Yeah, it was for us, it was a really big deal. It was, it was definitely like a high point.
That's cool. And now you're on a new label, which is probably amazing as well.
Yeah, they're great. They're like, they're just like a really hardworking, like good label here, independent label here in Denmark. Also releasing like really good stuff. So
that's cool.
Really happy about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So during COVID, you had the record done, but you're finding a new home for it.
Yeah.
You found a new label, and then you just put the record out last month, right?
Yeah.
What was that like? Finally getting it out there after, I'm sure a year or so, almost a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even more probably.
Yeah. It felt really good. I mean, it was like, it's just like a really, I don't know. It was really surreal to like release something you've been working on for that long. And we were lucky enough that the Danish radio actually asked us to play the same day we were releasing our record. We played like a live show, but like in the radio.
Oh, really? Wow, that's cool. What was that? That must have been
it was really nice because like we haven't been able to play live, but this felt like a concert, or it was a concert, but it was just like, it wasn't like an actual audience, like a physical audience.
Well, you got to play on the air. Wow.
Yeah, we got to play on the air, and and they like kind of celebrated the release of our album with us, and like we were drinking champagne with the radio hosts and stuff.
That's cool.
Like, it was really nice. And we assembled a new live band because the two other guys kind of left in the middle of like making this newer album.
Okay.
And so we had to kind of like assemble a new band. And so this was the first show we also played with them. Yeah.
Wow.
It was really like crazy. It was really nice. It was really, really cool.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. And what about like writing new songs? Like you've had a year to sit on this record. Have you guys been writing for a while, like during COVID, or was it mainly just trying to get the business end of putting the record out together?
A lot of it was like the business end of it, actually. It was like, it was pretty time consuming, but I mean, we have been writing, stuff, but we've also, like, we're trying to figure out like how to use these new guys that we have, should write with them, or should it more just be like me writing the songs? And we kind of have to like think of how to do everything again.
Sure.
Or maybe just keep doing like our same thing. But I mean, it's just opened up a lot of opportunities for us, I think. So
yeah, we haven't really decided. Like we haven't chosen a certain way to do it yet.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we have like we have different ideas. We've been working on like some sketches and stuff, but it's not like, it still has to like form itself somehow.
Sure. That's cool, man. Well, I'm stoked that you guys released a record. I really like it a lot. I've been listening to it on Spotify, and that song's great. I mean, I just love the sound that you guys have. It is that kind of like that lo-fi indie sound, but you could tell that there's a lot there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And what about like, I don't know what the regulations are, restrictions are looking like in Copenhagen where you guys are. But here in the States, things are, there's a glimmer of hope as far as live shows go. There's like some festivals booked and bands are booking little tours. I didn't know, like, what's it look like there? Is playing live anywhere in the future for you guys?
Well, the biggest festivals just recently announced that they're canceling this summer too. So.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but there's still some smaller festivals that I think will
happen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, because like we have some really big ones on the they have them on the books. I haven't heard anything about them canceling them yet, but that's unfortunate that they've had to cancel there.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
Yeah. But also it's really, really difficult because like the whole like lineup from last year has just been shifted to this year. So there's like almost no like available dates that you can play at. Like
that's what I've been hearing is like, since all these artists have had a year off, and like it's kind of like the bigger ones are gonna get the first come first serve type deal, you know what I mean? Since they've already had these shows push. A lot of the smaller artists, or even here in the States, it's hard for them to find dates, or they'll grab a date here or there. Yeah, and it's like they might land one in like New York or Louisiana, and then it's like, well, how do I'm a band from Denver, like how do I figure this out? Like, you know what I mean? Like logistically, it's not going to make sense. Like, how am I going to? So I've heard that quite a bit with some of the smaller artists.
Yeah, but we have some concerts in. We actually have one here in the beginning of June, and we have some in September and October.
Awesome. Have you guys played yet in front of a live audience?
No, just only the radio. Yeah.
Only that radio one? That's going to be a big moment, I'm sure. A pretty emotional moment.
Yeah.
And I've said this a couple times in the last week or so. I think people are going to start taking shows like a little less for granted, where it's like, oh, Comedians is coming through, like, oh, you know, they're going to be back here next year. Like, I don't care. I'll see them next time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, like it's a Thursday. Like, but I don't think anyone's going to be doing that, because it's like, okay, the shows are going. Like, do we have a window? Like, is this going to be open forever? Like, what are we going to do? So I feel like people are going to be more apt to get off the couch and see bands. Well, I hope stuff opens up over there. That's unfortunate that they've stopped some of the festivals there over the summer, but I'm glad you have a couple of shows in the books. That'll be exciting. And the new record's amazing, man. Guys, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. Of
course. You so much.
I do have one more question though before I let you go. I'll see if I can get an answer from both of you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Wow. Well, I mean, if give some advice like in terms of what happened to us, I would say just don't like keep your stuff, put your stuff out, like just put something out and like do it, and then make more stuff. I mean, I feel like that's what we kind of have done. And I'm sure you can do it a bunch of other ways, but yeah, I mean, I would say just put your stuff out, like show it to somebody. Don't keep it to yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Love it.
Try to be as independent as possible.
Bringing it backward.